So we'll call the meeting to order. Just as a reminder, all or parts of this video of this meeting is being taped and could be shown or rebroadcast on WRPS or other media outlets. And we will turn this over to, we're gonna deviate a little bit from the agenda. We'll turn this over to Lorraine and her team, I guess, to start off with a video.
Great, thank you, Rich. I'm really excited tonight because we have quite a large group of our SMMA team here. We reached a pretty major milestone this week in completing the 90% CD documents, and we are on the final hurdle to 100% to get them out the door. So I would like to just acknowledge, if I can, some of our amazing talent who are contributing to parts of this video that you'll see, and I want to make sure I don't miss anyone, so I see some of my team joining while I'm here. But we have Mariana, our project architect, Eric Mulligan. Just wave your hand, Eric. This is like, yep. Chris Dolan. I don't know if Chris is on he's going to run the monitor, the video. We have Anthony Pulkin from our architecture team. We have Jem Battershall, our interior designer. Okay, Jenna Trudeau, also our interior designer. Maeve Kelly, also from interiors down there. We have Ali Uchi and Hillary Dutton from our graphic design team. And we have Chase Gibson, our mechanical engineer. So everybody, most people on here tonight, did I miss any of our SMMA team? Speak now. All right. So with that, I'm going to have Chris share his screen. One thing that Chris did note to us is if we turn off our videos, the processing tends to go quicker. So you're going to see the SMMA team will all turn off our videos. He's going to share his screen, but the process through the video will go quicker. It's about 13 minutes it's going to take to get through it. And then I'm going to have, we can go back and pause and go to any areas you'd like. And Eric is going to narrate us. So I am going to turn my video off right now and hand it over to Eric. Take it away, Eric.
So yeah, the videos really helps, just helps with the playback. Thank you guys. And Chris, I think we're good to go. Okay, so as we approach the building, we're coming from the northwest, traveling along Taunton Ave. And then we're going to turn and face the front entry plaza. So that's where students and visitors are coming into the building, although the main bus drop-off would be around back. So we drop to the entry plaza, we'll get to look at the second floor Makerspace, which is that metal and glass volume coming out to the right. And then we're going to enter the double height secure vestibule. Going to take a glance at the main office on the right. And so now we're really entering the main lobby of the building, which directly faces that center courtyard. To the left, we have one of our class pods. That's the yellow corridor all the way at the end. The grand stair with a bench underneath, the courtyard. And then the entry graphic that Hillary and Ali have been working on. So we pass the main office again, and on our right as we move towards the cafeteria. The cafeteria itself opens up into a double height space, which lets in a lot of natural light. And you can see the glass in the lower portion on the left, which is the exit towards the playground and cafeteria, or bus drop off, sorry. So we have an operable partition, that white rectangle, which is currently closed. And that's what separates the cafeteria from the gymnasium. So the gym itself includes bleacher seating on the right end, as well as a large band of glass that again lets in natural light. So as we turn around, you'll notice that operable partition is open. And approaching the cafeteria, we get a sense for the space from this perspective. Let's see the quiet or intimate dining area off to the right. We have some slot windows that provide a visual connection between the media center and the space. Those are above the platform there. So we'll now move through the platform, which is the main performance space of the school. It would have a drop-down projection screen in the ceiling here, as well as a curtain along this back to block all the natural light that comes in through the courtyard. Turning down this corridor, we have a music room. That's the open door on the right side. And a nature-themed graphic with some planned sensory components as part of it. And then we're calling these areas the bridge elements. They're major circulation points between the class neighborhoods and directly face an outdoor learning space right here, which is shared by 2 of the learning neighborhoods. And then these areas also include some ancillary learning space in the form of these learning stairs, which can provide for both large groups and also small groups in one-on-one meetings. So on the right, we have the pond. This is one of our class neighborhoods, all of which are themed. So there's 4 different themes and they stack vertically. Each one's 2 stories. So we'll see the pond again when we get up to the 2nd floor. So turning into this space, this is the 1st floor Makerspace, which has a large overhead door that faces directly onto the courtyard. And the idea with this courtyard is that it's a program space. So it serves as an outdoor learning area, an area for incentivized play, and has a few different core academic and special education uses sort of organized around it. The Makerspace is a double height space, gets a lot of natural light from the glazing you can see up there coming in from the 2nd floor. And then it also has polished concrete floors, which is the gray on the bottom there, which is great for both dirty and clean projects. Some opportunity for display outside of the class neighborhoods. So this is another one of those bridge elements, again with the learning stair on the left, and then a 2nd outdoor learning commons on the right. So now back at the entry foyer, you can see the vestibule where we came in down there on the right side. And we're going to actually go up this grand stair towards the media center and check out some of the special spaces. So the entry to the media center is very transparent and there's a lot of opportunity for display, both sort of at the front here with that case. And then as we enter in, you can see along the accent wall area for display as well, with the reception desk on the left side. As we turn right, we're now going into that 2nd floor Makerspace. This is the volume that we saw when we approached the building. And these windows at the end have a wraparound bench directly faces sort of onto that entry plaza. So this is a great area for display of student work to the public. So we're now coming, excuse me, into the media center, which is broken up into a few different zones. You can see all the way in the back corner there, there's sort of a project-based zone with some small tables. This is the main instruction zone with a teaching wall and those slot windows that face the cafeteria. And then along the back, we have these colored window box outs integrated into the courtyard windows just as small reading nooks. And then lastly, we have the reception desk here and another sort of fun reading area for the kids on the left with a window that looks into the cafeteria. And that space also has a window that faces the exterior. So leaving the media center, we have our second music room on the left. So this wall is built out for sound isolation, but also includes a graphic, and it allows us to be a little bit dynamic, providing benches and different recesses in it that work with the theme of music. So continuing along the main corridor, we have 2 art rooms on our right, and we'll enter the second floor of one of these bridge elements, taking a glance at that shared learning commons outside. And then to the right, we've actually exposed the kiln room with a 2-sided display case. So the drying pottery and stuff can be on display for people walking by. This is that glass that looks down into the makerspace on the first floor. So now we're going to start to approach one of the class neighborhoods. This one down in the corner on the left there being the Nest. So we do have a second entrance to the media center that's just off to the right here, as well as some additional learning spaces. So all of these pods are identical with some minor exceptions, one of which being obviously the color and the theme and the branding of each. And they all start with these cubby areas. So this is where students are taking off their jackets, taking off their boots, unloading really anything dirty before they enter in the main project space, which is really theirs. So this is the open shared commons. There's 4 classrooms in each one of these, all with operable partitions that have frosting on them just to provide a little bit of privacy. And then there's some small breakout rooms between the classrooms. We have large windows in all the classrooms, so there's a lot of natural light getting in. You can see the main teaching wall there on the left, or the right, sorry. And then as we turn, we'll see the casework wall and some additional storage, as well as a window that looks into that small group room. So now we're going to make our way actually down and out of the school towards the cafeteria. And each neighborhood has its own sort of vertical connecting stair, and the landings of these stairs project out into the shared learning commons. So you can see the construction's identical floor to floor. And then as we come out, we're going to have the cafeteria on our left and the south edge of the courtyard, that bridge element with this nature wall on our right. And then straight ahead is our main serving area for the cafeteria. And then we're going to turn and exit towards the playground and bus drop off. So it's important to note too that the site here is not modeled at the same level of detail as the building. So don't panic if there's a few things that are missing. They are captured in details. So we have the active playground on the right and a sort of more passive area on the left against the classrooms. And then at the end of this walk, this is really where the students are getting dropped off from buses. So this is the first thing they see. And the form of the building really opens up towards that cafeteria, bringing the students in and they get off. And then lastly, we're going to make our way sort of out along the loop road. So this is closed during the day, just really open for the mornings and afternoons when the buses are going through. And then raising up, we get one final look at that shared outdoor learning commons. So that's what we have for you. We're very excited to show you this. Like Lorraine said, we're pretty proud of it and we hope you liked it. And we really wanted to thank you guys.
Thank you, Eric.
Eric, thank you. That was great.
Thanks. Yeah, and you were good to put your videos back on.
So I hope everybody got a sense of how it might feel walking through there. It's a little bit of time before it's actually going to be a building, but the technology we have today can really help us, you know, go through these buildings. And we use this as a tool. Our team meets both as an interior review and an exterior review, and we sort of pick apart the things we see that maybe not are standing out. You know, we'll catch that beam coming through the wall, or we'll, you know, Chase knows very well, we'll see that piece of ductwork, or we'll see that piece of fin tube and we'll question why it's there and is that what the intent was. So it's a really dynamic tool that we use on a daily basis to help improve the quality of our documents, but also just thought it might be really beneficial for the committee to get a sense of how it might feel when you walk through there. And the reason I asked Mr. Phelps if he was available, because what you didn't see, Dick, is the sign over the front door, which is Phelps Elementary.
Well, the only question I had, maybe it's not a proper question, but I'll ask it anyway. The restrooms to the outside towards the field house.
Yes.
As I recall, there were only, I think, one or two restrooms towards that whole wide area of natural turf, not natural turf, but the, you know, synthetic turf. And has that been corrected at all? Because I can't envision people going down there to, what, a football game, and there'd be 300 or 400 people all trying to get into one or two bathrooms.
So there are two bathrooms that are accessible. It is not intended to be the public toilets for when there's a football game there. It really is not. It's intended for kids coming in from the outside. I just throw it out there because whether it's intended for that or not, it's going to be an area that people aren't too thrilled with once they have to go up the hill to go to the public bathrooms that are, you know, up in the stadium area, and then come way back down to the area where the Memorial Park School is now. I question it because I think it's going to be a problem. Now, people, you know, you folks are the experts, not me for sure, but I just thought I should mention it again. I know it was mentioned once before in another meeting.
Dick, one of the things we had talked about on that was trying to add some public restrooms.
Yes.
I don't think the intent was to make that, you know, the public restroom. I think there'll be a combination between those, if the school chooses to open them up, you know, particularly for school activities up at the stadium. But I also think when you start looking at even across the street, you know, to the track, I think we're going to continue to need to have some portable facilities, you know, in addition to.
If that's the case, Rich, I don't have a problem with that. That's all right, as long as there are adequate facilities, because there are things that are going to happen there. And depending upon the success of different teams in the future, they're going to be big crowds. and to have just the two doors open. That if there are public facilities as well in the area, no problem. I'm okay with that. But I can't see people because it's a walk from the back of where they're watching, say a field hockey game or something, all the way up to the restrooms in the Memorial Stadium, and then coming back there. You can miss a lot some of the game just by walking.
Yeah, I mean,
So
you look at
as
today,
long as
but if you look at today, there are no public facilities. So you got the softball field, the baseball field. You've got
there
the
are,
track
but
across
you
the
don't
street.
have that. You don't have that beautiful field either that you're going to have. That's going to be an attraction. I would
No,
think.
I understand it, but the sport that's going to draw the most is going to be football, and varsity football and everything is still going to be played at the stadium. So I mean,
okay.
Most of the sports I think that we're playing down there are not ones that drive a whole lot of foot traffic. It's
Well, I
usually just
just
for
mentioned
parents. Yeah.
I just mentioned it for other people to consider, and I'm fine with whatever the committee decides. Believe me, I am very fine with it. But I just see that to be a possible problem when it would only amount to adding 3 or 4 more bathrooms right in that area. I don't know. Well, I just leave that, and I'm happy with any other discussion or whatever. But whatever's decided, I'm okay with.
Does anyone else have any feedback or comments on the tour from the committee? Yep.
I have a question. The grand staircase in the front of the building, it looks like when you're on that second floor, the railing height it's probably standard, but is it possible to make that a little higher? Because I feel like kids might be like up against that, because it looks like it's opened to the staircase, and I don't want somebody to like flip over the railing.
So there's a 42-inch guardrail at the top. It might not be looking that way in the video, but the guardrail is 42-inch, a handrail is 36. So
Okay.
it's a transaction height. It may just not be coming across in the video.
Okay. And then also looking into the makerspace on the second floor, there's windows that look into the makerspace. Do you think that would be a distraction for the students that are in the makerspace and having kids walk by on the second floor?
We don't. We actually think it's really engaging to be able to look in and see what other students are doing. I mean, I think most of our high schools today have more glass than less glass, in the sense that they're trying to make sure all kids are exposed to activities that are going on. Jen, do we have shades on that?
We do.
Okay. All right, so they have the ability then, I think if they find that, we can close the shade. But it's really nice to be able to look in and see something that kids might be working on.
Yeah.
That gets you engaged.
Definitely.
Okay.
Can I go back and ask a question, a follow-up on Emily's question? On the handrails, does that follow down the stairs as well?
Guardrails do not go down. That's not true. Mariana, do we have both guardrails and handrails? Yes, guardrails and handrails on the steps part.
On the steps, right, going down, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
I just add that that was quite an impressive software, and it must have been a lot of work. That was really, really something else. I know the drawings pretty well, as you know, so I could follow along floor by floor, room by room, and it was pretty impressive. It's a good job. That was a lot. I could tell it was a lot of work. I just want to add that in before the end. Nice little touch with the pumpkins on the second floor. We threw that up there. Not that I noticed. A little disappointed I wasn't on the roof or in the mechanical space, but I'll get over it.
Yeah, that was
Now you
Ali
can
and
keep all
Ali and
that
Hillary.
glass clean.
That there is glass. There's definitely glass there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's really about exposing kids to more today, and I'm not going to say it's without maintenance, but I think Mark can do it.
Especially in the stairwells.
One of the things I really loved about this was the kids pull up and they see their playground first. It makes them excited about school, which I don't know, it just made me happy to hear that. The one thing I have about that is I didn't hear it, and maybe I was just spaced out for a minute. What's our safety there? And what was it that we had for the safety barrier for the playground and the buses in that area? Again, at the beginning of the day, this is what's going through my head.
So there is a fence that surrounds that play area. So you're inside a fence inside the playground, so you can't run out in front of the bus. Is that what you were talking about?
Yeah, that's, I couldn't see
Yeah.
it, and
Yeah.
maybe it was just me. And then the stairway, how many stairs are leading for that main stair?
Can you just rephrase your question? I'm not sure I understand your
Yeah,
question.
for the main staircase as you enter, how many stairs are there?
How many steps?
Yeah, steps, I'm sorry, steps.
Mariana, do you happen to know? It's
24.
14 feet floor to floor, right?
Yeah, there's 6-inch risers. It's 24.
24. Thank you.
24
Eric.
stairs. I'm just thinking out loud about kids running up those stairs and safety and handrails. And should there be one more handrail in the middle? I don't know. It's just what's going through my head.
Yeah, we actually can't by code put another handrail in the middle, because then we wouldn't have the code required clearance between handrails. So it's odd how the code works, but there's a minimum distance between handrails.
Okay,
There's
gotcha.
handrail on each side of the stairs, so.
What,
For what
are
it's
the
worth.
stairs made of? Pardon me, I'm sorry, Dick Phelps. What are the stairs made of? Are they concrete? What are they made of?
So
The
if
Stairs
you're-
are terrazzo.
Go ahead.
Tall terrazzo, okay. All right, fine, thank you.
Those monumental stairs, the classroom pod stairs will be pan stairs with rubber flooring on top.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Would the main staircase be the most used for the kids getting to the second floor, or would they go to the ends of the corridor and use the other stairways?
I think the kids are going to use the two primary, so the monumental stair on as you come in the entrance, and then the corresponding stairs at the other end. Because if you're coming from the caf or the gym, you'll use those stairs to get back up to your classes or up to the media center. So there's sort of two stairs that I think are going to get the most use. And then the classroom pod stairs, they're going to be used more when you're coming down to go out to the learning center or coming down to go to CAF.
I'm thinking of little legs in first and second grade is what they wouldn't be going up to the second floor anyway, I suppose.
Oh, they will for music and art and media center.
Where the pod stairs has that bend, so they have a resting space there. They wouldn't be going up 24 steps at a time.
I have a 5-year-old and I can't keep up with him.
I was just gonna say, if we're starting to worry about 6 and 7-year-olds climbing 24 steps, then this society has really gone to pot.
Maybe
Like,
I'm thinking of my bones, Dick.
They should, yeah, exactly. They should be running up and down. Now, if you or I had to do that, that's a different story.
You can take the elevator, Julie.
And Rich, I wasn't thinking of them running up the stairs. I was thinking of them falling down the stairs, quite frankly.
Well, that's a good point,
That
too.
was my question, and that's what was going through my head.
Yeah.
Just
They're
my
resilient,
two,
they bounce.
just my 2 cents. This is Alan. Each time you guys present more drawings, I'm inspired more and more. I'm just thrilled with the work that you're doing, and I'm more and more convinced that this building is going to be the most beautiful building in town, if not in the area. And just very, very excited about the spaces that you're creating, and just want to thank you for your work.
Alan, Dick Phelps, just to chime in on that, I agree 100%. I've been through it once before, and for what I see so far, and very, very pleased with the progress and what's being designed for us. I think it's a win, no question, a big win for all of the elementary schools to be there and to be in the same setting. And with the design that you folks have come up with, I think it's very special. I just wanted to say that.
Thank you, Dick.
Dick, I gotta reiterate that. Obviously, you and I and a few others went through that whole process with the high school and the middle school. Obviously, the high school, it kind of was what it was. And no knock on the middle school, but I do have to say that this design team, every time that I see this and in the detail and all the little things that are added to it, aesthetically, this school is, at least what we've seen so far,
I
just
agree.
knocked it out of the ballpark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'll echo that, Rich and Dick, as I think the only other person that was on the last project. This has been just a far more straightforward and enjoyable experience by everyone involved so far. I mean, heck, you got me in meetings now, not even having to ask questions so far, which is pretty good. We'll wait till you really start spending our money, but in the meantime, it's been going really well, and I echo Dick and Rich's sentiments.
Very professional.
I hope the film and the computers are not diluting the colors, but I really like the pastel scheme on the walls in the corridors rather than the bright primary colors.
And I know that we haven't finished the environmental graphic design, so we will get back to you. We're continuing to advance those. You saw a few new snippets today on this video that you haven't seen before. But we do intend to continue this and to get back with the subcommittee and go through some of the final graphic presentations and get final comments.
Good.
Is it possible to share this video or part of it with the community?
Absolutely. You can post this on, we'll send the link out and you can put it on YouTube and put it on the Facebook page. And
might be nice to share some happy news and upbeat positivity right now. So
yeah, what we'd like to do, sorry.
No, just Lorraine, will you please share that with me?
Absolutely. The one thing we'd like to do, Alan, Hillary's on the call. What we'd like to do is just put some captions on the spaces, because without Eric's narration, it doesn't really, if someone's watching it, they might be more confused. So, Hillary has been fabulous working with us on our projects, and she even put some really nice music to it, so you get to enjoy it as you walk through. So we'll add some captions and get that out to you guys.
Yeah, that'd be great. And we can put it on the website too, the school building website.
Yep.
Hey,
Wonderful.
Lorraine, I just had a quick question. First, like everyone else, I love the video and love the design. It's just, I was really blown away. It's awesome. My question is, with the amount of glass in some of those rooms that have just, which I get why, it's going to really be a benefit. Is there something in the budget? Are there going to be like window treatments and shades? Because I know that can get expensive, because I'm imagining it getting very hot depending on the orientation.
So the exterior windows have shades that break down on the solar fabric. Not only that, but our glass actually reduces the solar gain. But all exterior windows have shades. But then on the interior, Jen, Battershall, and Jenna make sure that we have privacy shades, and that's all included within the current budget.
Great, thank you.
Sure. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I'm excited.
Yeah, love the design.
Lorraine and everyone from SMMA, thank you very, very much.
You're very welcome.
Yes.
So we'll go back to the original agenda, and we'll take the next topic up, which is the approval of minutes from September 17th. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
I got a motion from Chris Berniker, I think it was, and a second from Jared. With that, I'll take a roll call. Chris Berniker.
Yes.
Mark Shum.
Yes.
Jill Maroney.
Yes.
Ashley Cutter.
Yes.
Doug Lapp.
Yes.
Jane Hackett,
Yes.
Emily, Danielle, you weren't here, I don't think. Emily Davidson,
Yes.
Trish Pierce,
Yes.
Julie Schaefer,
Yes,
Jared Valenzola,
Yes.
Dick Phelps.
Yes.
Tim, I don't think you were here either.
That's correct.
Alan
Yes.
and myself, yes. So the meeting, the minutes are approved. Sean, you want to talk about the invoice review?
Sure. Let me just see if I can share my screen. I have one monitor today, so I don't know how to do this correctly. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna just put this in presentation mode, I guess. How's that? Can we see that?
yeah,
All right. So invoice review, this got sent out in the packet that came out the other night. Same as every month, we just give you every invoice that we receive. Standard PMA monthly invoice, SMMA's design invoice that puts them just beneath the 90%. So they'll bill out the 90% to 90% level at the, it'll be in the next invoice. Everything is aligned with the cash flow. We're on track for what we had planned. No surprises there. And as we go through this permitting process, and as we start to really plan this building and get into construction, we have some utility invoices that are going to show up here and there. And this one's from National Grid. This has to do with their engineering design to deal with the new power requirements and the new work that has to be done to support the building. So this is their design invoices that come through. So it's all part, including the budget we have for it. And it's we put every invoice that we get on the project on here so everyone can see it, and it's transparency to anyone who's interested in the project. So there's no vote required. It's just if there's questions, we can answer them. Otherwise, all the invoices, all the backup are in the email that was sent on, I think it was sent Tuesday.
Yeah, this process seems to be working very well.
It seems great. The town accountant likes it. So if we keep her happy, then it's good for us. All right. Do you want to move on to the next one, Rich?
Yeah. Yep.
All right. So I'll save you the suspense. We went through our 90% estimate, and we are under where we were at the last project, which is great. We've got some good feedback from our estimators that say it looks like probably because of COVID, there's been a little bit of a slowdown in construction. And when there's a little bit of a slowdown, that bids come in favorably. So we're crossing our fingers and hoping that that trend continues and we get this project in, at or under budget. Right now, we're trending under budget. So we provide these documents to the MSBA. They show us reconciled between our two estimators at 1.4%. Which means that both of our estimators are very close to the numbers. They agree to the numbers. So we're happy with that. Same here, we go through, this is just some more detail that you can go through, but just to show how close we are with all of these, with all of the individual estimates and as a total for the project. So overall, with all the ads and the contingencies and things like that, we are within 1.27%, which is great. We have to be under 5 for MSBA regulations, and we did that and then some.
It's encouraging.
And then with bonds, overhead and profits, escalation, some COVID costs, we are actually at 0.33%, which is even better. Most of these costs are based on, they're all pretty close. They're based on percentages of the construction. So once the construction comes in on budget, typically these add-ons on top of it, which are percentage based, also come in right around almost even.
Great.
All right. So the one thing that we did want to show is the difference between the 60% and the 90%. And if you look at the general line items, most of the budgets are pretty much in line. The difference is really up here. It's the design and pricing contingency. So at the 60%, we held a higher percentage. We always hold a higher percentage at 60%, more uncertainty in design. Things change, prices change. And as we get closer to construction, we drop this down. So this number has dropped down. And what that means is it gets filled into the spaces that we've, the designs have been more refined and the pricing is more absolute on. So if you see some of these line items go up a little bit, it's really taken up by the contingency that got spread to all of those items. And if we get down to our bottom line, we are 60% bottom line before escalation was 66 million 4, and our 90% is 66 million 2. So we're just under $200,000 under where we were before. We've also dropped escalation because we're not as far away from the end. Escalation is just, standard market condition. Everything gets more expensive as time goes on, and as we get closer to actual construction date, we don't need to hold as much for escalation. So the big difference on this is that our escalation has dropped by about $500,000, and our overall budget is down about $715,000 for total project costs. So that being said, we have that money. It's still within the project budget, and you never really know until we get those bids in. But from all of the feedback we heard from estimators on both sides, we feel good about the estimate and we feel good about the market right now. And I think the Rockland's in a pretty good space where we're hitting this in a down market, which is always good for bidding. So
no, that's encouraging, Sean. And it's unfortunate what's happening out there, but the town may end up, from a financial standpoint, be lucky for both school projects. We went off in 2009 at the tail end of the last recession, and looks like we may be doing something similar on this side because of COVID.
Rich, Dick Phelps, when will that happen? When will we actually know just where we're at?
In January, we'll go into the next
January.
step.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Okay.
Our bid goes out in January, and we get in the results in early February. So early February.
Wonderful. Great. Okay.
So we're getting
Thank
pretty
you.
close. Okay. Any other questions on the estimate? It's great news. So if we were above, I think we'd have a lot harder conversation right now, but we're trending in the right direction as we have been throughout this project. So we're happy to report.
Thank you.
All right. So one of the things we did want to talk about is our construction schedule. And I'm going to probably turn over some pieces to Rich and Alan if Alan's on the phone, just to talk about kind of how it affects them, because I think this will affect them more. So what we've been doing as we're planning this project, we're discussing our schedule with some of the general contractors and construction managers that we work with on other projects, some of the people who we think will be bidding the project, to get their feedback on our schedule. And we talk internally in our company about different projects that are coming out. So we currently have 3 projects coming out right around the same time as Rockland. The other 2 projects recently have elected to extend their schedule to the schedule that, if you remember months back, where we talked about, instead of having a September opening, having an opening after winter break. And they did that because the feedback that they have received from the general contractors is that if they bid a substantial completion date in June for these projects starting in the previous March, they'd put a substantial amount of overtime and a substantial amount of money to mitigate the risk of projects going over budget. And the feedback was, if you bid this out later, it would probably end up being a cost savings to the district. So our big concern is always about the school department and how does the school manage this and how does the school deal with it. So we've had some conversations with Alan, and Alan can speak for himself about how he feels about this as we go through it. And one of the other things to point out before I turn it over to Rich and Alan is that as we talk about and discuss this, we're also mindful that COVID cases are rising right now. And what happened this last March is construction sites got shut down in Massachusetts for anywhere from a month to 3 months. And if the town of Rockland puts all their eggs in a basket of opening school in September, meaning they're planning their next school year to move out all of the other schools into this new building, and something happens with COVID and the state shuts down construction, they're going to have to scramble later on, figure out how they're going to replan their entire school year. If they open in winter break with just a plan to move the Jefferson School in and everyone else stays put until the next school year, if that happens, really all you have to do is leave Jefferson open, and it gives you a lot more flexibility, a lot more area to kind of avert some of that risk. So our original schedule is shown here. We did run another scenario to show a proposed construction schedule, and I think I should have a third one that shows. Oh, I think it might have cut off. Oh, here we go. So this is my really fancy cut and paste job that tries to put them next to each other so you can see phase one versus phase two. So basically the construction of the phase one, instead of it being substantially complete in June, would end up being substantially complete in October, which would allow for an opening for, let's call it January 2nd or January 3rd of the next year, whenever the first school day of the new year is. What we were concerned about is the field work and some of the other items that have to happen. But what ends up happening is you have to demo the Jefferson School first, and you can do that during the winter, but you really can't do a whole lot of soils work and earth work and plantings and things like that that go along with the final site improvements. So a lot of those activities had to span a much longer period because they can't put in that field in January when you have freezing conditions in the ground. It's just, I mean, thawing out a soccer field work, it doesn't make, quite frankly, it doesn't make any sense. So while the schools may open 3 months early, our substantial completion date really only shifts about a month and a half. And our concern there is we want to make sure this field is ready for the fall sports season. And even by opening the school a little bit later, which delays the demolition of Jefferson School, which therefore delays the final site improvements a little bit, we still can achieve the goal of hitting that field ready for fall sports. So that's kind of an overview, but I'm Rich, I don't know if you want to kind of touch base on some of these items, and then if there's any questions, we can talk about them as well.
Yeah, I think this is more of Alan, but I know when we talked about it, what we don't know is the uncertainty of COVID and how that ends up impacting this project. We know projects that are ongoing right now that were in construction last March, they're still impacted. And then the other thing that we don't know is from an economic standpoint, the workforce, and the uncertainties. Every company it doesn't matter what field you're in, but every company is feeling the impact of COVID and what it's done to their business, and everybody is cut back. So, that's some of the uncertainties that we don't know going forward. And I think as we talked about it, we had talked about this back a year and 2 years ago about the aggressive schedule that we were talking about, and in perfect times, it still could potentially be a challenge. Well, we're in very uncertain times right now, and I think if we try to stick to this aggressive schedule, I think it would end up costing us more money, and I think we would be in danger of hitting this schedule. So, but Alan, I please jump in here.
Yeah, well, when we were first talking about when to open the school, and I'm not going to speak for Michelle, and she and I haven't had a chance to talk about this, but I think both of us were looking at each other just with the logistics of moving all of the kids around that we need to move around. Remember, we're relocating kindergarten, which is now in 3 separate elementaries, into the Eston School. And so the thought of opening this new building mid-year seemed to us like an almost insurmountable challenge. Well, since then, COVID has turned our entire lives completely upside down. We are doing things now that we could have never imagined. So I am absolutely, completely unafraid of having to open the building in December. We could open the building in October, and I know we'll make it work. So I want us to do what's best economically for the town. Obviously, we would like the schools to open as smoothly and logically as possible. I don't love the idea of moving one elementary into the new building where the other two are not moving in at the same time, but I assume those are bridges we can cross later. But the main thing that I want to say is my attitude toward moving in the middle of the year has completely changed because of everything that we've gone through with COVID. Again, we are doing things now with scheduling and the amount of flexibility that we've required of families and kids and teachers has been just completely unimaginable. So if we do have to move into this building in December, I am absolutely confident that we can make it work. It would still be better to move in the fall, but if we have to set it up for the middle of the year, and if that's going to mean that better contractors bid this job, then my vote would be to do it that way. So my attitude has changed since we had these discussions a year ago, simply because of everything I've seen the system have to go through because of COVID, and I know we can do it. So I don't know how you feel, Michelle, if you have anything you want to add.
I don't know if Michelle is on. I
Okay.
haven't seen her.
But anyway,
Well,
that's my 2 cents on that, Rich. I don't know if that's helpful.
Well,
No, absolutely.
This is Dick Phelps, and I'll tell you, my relationship with Dr. Cron is beyond what I've ever felt with any other superintendent, and I've dealt with 6 of them. And if this man says that this can be done, I have total faith in the fact that it can be done. That man has been exemplary in everything that he has done since he's been a superintendent for the Rockland Public Schools. I just want to add that. Thank you.
Rich, I'll echo kind of what Dr. Cron said. I think importantly, we need to make sure that we have a schedule that affords us the best economic situation as well. And unfortunately, while it might not be ideal in terms of the school calendar, it's heartening to hear that that the administration is on board with sort of the position I personally had pretty much throughout this whole thing. So I'm glad to hear that is something that, should it be what we do, they can pull off. I think it would be perilous, I think, as you said, Rich, to try and get the entire thing done before the start of the school year. And anything can happen. Granted, it's a new building, so we wouldn't run into the same issues we ran into at the high school, but it's heartening to hear the administration, Dr. Cron, and I applaud you guys for being able to do that, because I think for the taxpayers and for the purposes of this project, I think it's personally, to me, the best schedule to do.
What's
I
the
have a
feeling of the
question.
school committee?
What, I'm sorry, what did you say?
What's the feeling of the school committee on the schedule, the members of the school committee?
I had a question first. What about materials? I just know myself in the stores and things right now for wood and whatnot. What are we looking at materials? Does anyone have any forecast on if we'll be able to even get what we need to get the school built?
Sean, more of like lead times. Have we seen extended lead times on materials? I know in my industry we have, just because every manufacturer's cut back on their workforce.
Yeah, I think we have, but I think we're also, if we're bidding out early enough where steel's the first thing that comes out, so the steel plants, for the most part, have been okay. And as long as they order stuff early enough, then we should be okay. But I think it's a great point in that it just speaks to the uncertainty of what happens if, if there's a huge outbreak somewhere and the metal stud plant shuts down, and the drywall plant shuts down. So those types of issues kind of roll into this uncertainty to say, you know, in perfect times, yeah, we can hit an early schedule, we can hit an aggressive schedule. In uncertain times, that is the definition of the uncertainty. It's all of that stuff, and certainly materials availability is a concern.
Okay, and I agree with Dr. Cron, and I agree with Dick Phelps and Jared that this is where we are right now, that our faculty and administration is proving that we can do whatever we put our minds to. So if this is what we need to do, then we'll figure it out, you know. We never thought, like he said a year ago, we'd be sitting where we are today, and I think we built 3 schools over the summer. So if we can do it, if we need to do it, we can do it. And I agree. Thank you, Dr. Cron, for being the man you are and driving the ship. So that's my school committee opinion.
I'm like 50 shades of red right now. Please, no more compliments. I can't take it.
You're done now. That's all we have to say. Back to work.
Sean, I have one question, and it might be more of a legal one for town council, but see what you think. One thing you just got me thinking about is if there is another surge with COVID and the state shuts down construction sites, you know, if we're going to be in jeopardy of having, you know, a contractor put in some kind of claim or contingency for, you know, additional funds, because, you know, I've been not in a pandemic before, but it would for other reasons when construction schedules get delayed that are outside the control of the contractor, they'll often ask for additional funds. So have you thought about putting language in the, you know, in the bid specs and the contracts that would sort of protect us in case there is a COVID delay?
Yeah, the standard term we have is a no damages for delay clause, which gives them time but not money. So it would relieve them from any liquidated damage obligation, or it would relieve the extended time to complete the project, but would not allow them to request additional funds to do so.
Yep, that works.
So there's certain items like, you know, if there's additional protections required, if the state comes out and mandates certain things that have to happen that's beyond their control, it's likely that they would be compensated for something like that. But if it's the same project in a longer time span because of something like that, then our standard language is like that. But we should definitely review that clause, town council to contract to make sure they're comfortable with it.
Yeah, because my fear is like they might claim that that's generally in case there's like, you know, changes in design or things like that, they're dragging it out. But I just worry that the pandemic is so unique that they claim it's something outside the standard terms. So
I agree. It's a fair point. Maybe you list the COVID pandemic in there and say, you know, we speak specifically to this, so you can't leave it out.
Right.
So that's a great point. Sean, do you know, is there a force majeure in these contracts where, you know, that supersedes the language in there if there are things that happen, you know, and I've seen them before that they call out things like this where they actually put pandemic, rioting, you know, those types of things. It then throws everything out that's in there. You know, on a standard contract, is there a section for force majeure?
It depends on it really just depends on the contract you use. So I'll review what we have in there. We have it for the 90%. So as we get to 100, I'll review that. We have a full claims team who deals with this sort of stuff much more frequently than I do. So I'll reach out to them, see if they have some clauses that we can add to our contract that will just tighten that up and protect the town.
Doug, great point.
Oh, Dick Phelps, great point. Thank you.
Any other comments on the schedule?
So it seems like the general consensus is that we are going to push to the extended schedule for our phasing in the 100% drawings.
Yes.
Yes.
Would you like that in the form of a vote or no?
I think so.
Yeah. All right. I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second by Dick. I'll do a roll call. Chris Bernica.
Yes.
Mark Shawm.
Yes.
Jill Maroney?
Yes, can we add in that this is just because of COVID? Because I think under not COVID times, do we need to have it say something like that so that?
I don't think, I
can
think
see
it's
now.
something that we can, I think it's something that we can revisit if
We can
circumstances
revisit, yeah,
change.
Okay,
yeah. Um,
so that was a yes, sorry.
okay. Ashley Cutter,
Yes.
Doug Lapp,
Yes.
Jane Hackett,
Yes.
Danielle Biggins,
Yes.
Emily Davidson,
Yes.
Trish Pierce,
Yes.
Julie Schaefer,
Yes.
Jared Valenzola,
Yes.
Dick Phelps,
Yes.
Tim Haynes,
Yes.
Alan Cron,
Yes.
and myself, yes. I did get everyone, right? No one else has come on since then? Okay. It's a challenge with this bigger group.
Good job, Rich.
Thank you. Sean, we'll go on to the 90% package.
Yep. So on Tuesday, I sent out some documents, kind of high level stuff on what's included in the 90%. On top of that is the 90% drawing set that we sent out as a Bluebeam review session probably 3 or 4 weeks ago. I know Mark's been in there digging through those drawings and checking them out. PMA has been as well. We've reviewed them to the MSBA standard, and we find that the package is within the standard required by the MSBA. So we would recommend approval to submit the 90% package to the MSBA.
I make a motion to approve.
Hold on.
Second.
Hold on a second. I know, Emily, you had some questions, right, Emily?
Yes, I did.
So sorry, guys, let's open up for questions first, and then we can,
I'm just
as long as everyone's good, then we can look to do a motion.
Sorry, I'm pulling up my email because I can't remember what it was. On page 24 of that document, there was an active shooter section. And my question was, will each classroom have a wireless panic button? Or where will those be located?
I do not believe each classroom has a wireless panic button.
Okay.
Mariana,
Where, do you know where those are located?
The active shooter system?
Yeah.
It's
Those are usually located in the main offices, Emily.
Okay.
Yeah, we have them on the main office. And
I guess I just read it as they were kind of like spread throughout the building is how it seemed. But
And the other offices are locked, am I right?
sorry, say that again, Dick. I'm just looking at the specs.
No, I'm sorry, Dick Phelps. Are the other offices locked as these main buttons are activated?
No, the doors are not all electronic, so you lock them with a key.
Oh, okay. Is that something to consider then?
The cost of putting electronic locks in every door is significant. Like nobody has done it since Sandy Hook, actually, just so you're aware. Sandy Hook did do electronic doors, but no other school has followed.
Okay, well, I would lean to Emily.
I thought we had the discussion of if there was an active shooter drill, the doors would lock.
So every teacher can lock the door, and you can set it up so that the door is always locked, but you always have free egress. So when the teacher comes in the morning, you can have the choice to hold the door open, let your class in, and when the door shuts, it's always locked from the corridor, or the teacher can unlock it, but it's keyed from both sides. So if they need to go into lockdown, they key it closed.
Okay.
But you always have to provide free egress. So someone, if they wanted to leave the classroom, can leave the classroom. They just can't get in.
So Emily, for example, Emily, in the middle school and the high school, every teacher has a key that they can use from inside their classroom to lock their door. We do not have that situation in our elementary schools because they're older. But Lorraine, when if that active shooter alarm is tripped,
Yeah.
doesn't that close down the fire doors? So it seals off the access to entire
The
areas
pods.
of the building?
Yes, yes, the doors we have that are used for both security and for sort of closing off the building when the public is in it, those are failing down, so that will close and basically secure the pods.
Right. Does that,
Okay.
Dick, does that make sense?
Yes, I like it. I like it. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And then my other question that I had, on that document on page 5, it was said that there was 127 feet of elevation. And I'm assuming that's the hill near the stadium that goes down. So that water runoff, is there going to be like additional drainage in that area so the water doesn't freeze over potentially on the bus loop?
So I just want to make sure I'm looking at the document you're looking at. Do you know what it's called? Which one?
It
there
was
were-
the 63-page one, the large one that Sean sent yesterday.
Okay, and what page were you just on?
On page 5.
Page 5. No. So approximate elevation 127 means if I'm at 0, it's at 127, but that's relative to something else. So for example, Duffy Way is at 118.
Okay,
So it's not saying 127 feet difference.
okay. But in regards to the hill anyways, and just in general, having a conversation, I guess, is there going to be storm drainage at the bottom of that?
So we
This
have,
is the water that runs into those people's backyards right now and picking up that water. Is that right?
No, I'm talking about over the stadiums on
Over
the
the
hill.
hill.
on the
big
stadium
blue
side, that hill that's coming down,
And then the hill comes down.
where the
like
retaining wall is
so
gonna be.
we have a retaining wall with a French drain there that's going to pick
Okay.
up all that water.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And that was it.
With 5 retention ponds too.
Does anyone else have any questions? All right, with that, I will entertain a motion to approve the 90% drawing package. So I got a motion and a second.
Yeah, second. Dick
All right.
Phelps.
Thank you. So that was Chris Benica with the motion and Dick with the second, and take a roll call. Chris Benica,
Yes.
Mark Sham,
Yes.
Joe Maroney,
Yes.
Ashley Cutter,
Yes.
Doug Lapp,
Yes.
Jane Hackett,
Yes.
Danielle Biggins,
Yes.
Emily Davidson,
Yes.
Trish Pierce,
Yes.
Julie Schaefer,
Yes.
Jared Valenzola,
Yes.
Dick Phelps,
Yes.
Tim Haynes,
Yes.
Alan Cron,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Sean, that's unanimous.
Awesome, thank you. The video walkthrough we already did, unless you want to do it again. So next steps are the submission of the 90% package to the MSBA. We'll receive comments back from them, usually in a couple weeks. We will respond. We'll usually respond to the MSBA we have to respond within 10 days of that. We'll copy the committee on the response. We haven't had any showstoppers so far, so we're hoping to continue that trend. And the other thing that we have going on right now is the request for proposals. So right now on a website called Project Dog, we have a request for proposals for both subcontractors and for general contractors. Those are due into us on November 9th. On November 9th, distributed to the committee, PMA as members on that, SMMA, Dr. Cron and Mark Sham. We're going to spend time going through each of those packages and reviewing their qualifications, and people who are qualified will be told they're qualified and people who are not will be disqualified, and that will be our bidding pool for this project. So that process will end sometime in late November. SMA will be finishing up the drawings towards the end of December, and then our bid date is January 6th. The bid period lasts about a month until February 6th. We collect all of the bids, we award the contracts, and construction start right now is scheduled for March 20th.
John, sounds good. So realistically, next meeting, so I know we've been doing the third Thursday. We pushed this one on. The next one is November 19th. It sounds like it may be a little early. So do we want to try to, does it make sense to push the next meeting to December 3rd? Or try to keep that meeting on November 19th?
Well, if we want to look at the MSBA comments in a meeting, let's see, if we submit it, say Friday, we got what, 21 days to hear back from them, and then 10 days for us. So it would be about a month. So yeah, it might make sense. And if you did it December 3rd, then you would have the pre-quals done, so we could list who's the pre-qualified contractors. So that would be nice to be able to.
I'd make a
Yeah,
motion.
I'm just thinking
that.
November
Good
19th
Phelps.
is, all right. I was just thinking
Yeah.
November 19th is too quick. We're not going to really have
Yep.
anything at that point.
That's probably true. We're probably a little close on that. So either the week after or the week after that would be.
Well, the week after is
Oh, the week after
Thanksgiving, so I'm thinking the
Okay.
week, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So why don't we
Dick
plan
Phelps,
on?
motion.
All right, to get a motion and I don't even,
yep.
we don't have to take a vote on a.
Okay.
guess-
Okay.
But I think we'll tentatively have it scheduled for December 3rd. And as that date gets a little closer, I'll be in communication with Sean, and if we find that we're not going to have the information, then we can, push it off a couple of days. But let's schedule it right now tentatively for December 3rd. Does that work for everyone?
Sounds great.
Yes, sounds good.
All right. Any other questions, comments by anyone?
Just comment. Thank you, Rich. Great job.
Thank you, Rich.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I get a motion and a second to adjourn. And we'll take a roll call. Chris Benica,
Yes.
Mark Shum,
Yes.
Joe Maroney,
Yes.
Ashley Cutter,
Yes.
Doug Lapp,
Yes.
Jane Hackett,
Yes.
Danielle Biggins,
Yes.
Emily Davidson,
Yes.
Trish Pierce,
Yes.
Julie Schaefer,
Yes.
Jared Valenzola,
Yes.
Dick Phelps,
Yes.
Tim Haynes,
Yes.
Alan Cron,
Yes.
and myself, yes, that's unanimous. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of the day and a weekend.